Right, okay. I just wanted to make a little video about how to know how much to adjust for the wind. I've seen so much lately, so many posts, just saying, oh, I just eyeball it. I just guess. I just sort of look at it. I just guess. And it drives me mad, to be honest, because there's you shouldn't be guessing. There should be no guesswork involved, really. This is just one of my small accounts. The reason I've not picked one of my high level accounts is because I didn't want to show you everything with 100 accuracy. If I just go through a few of the clubs on this account, you can see if you look at the accuracy stat on the extra mile, it's 29. On the rocket, it's 76. If I pick the sniper, that's 100. Pick the Guardian, that's 66. So all different clubs have a different accuracy. You see the Apache's 0 there. The Claws 25. So all different clubs have all different stats, but the one that you really want to pay attention to is the accuracy. And what that relates to, I've just made a little chart here. If you just think about the accuracy in the left column, it's going to be on a scale between 0 and 100. So if you've got a 100 accuracy club, like the Sniper, or some high-level rough iron, sand irons, high-level drivers like the Thorn, the Rock, and the Quarterback, a 100 accuracy, that relates to, in a really basic way, 1 wind per ring. So 1 mile per hour wind per ring. So what that means is if the wind is blowing at 5 miles per hour and it's 1 wind per ring, you will need to adjust 5 rings for 5 miles per hour. If it's 18 wind, you'll need to adjust 18 rings. Now, if you think about the wind being, the accuracy being 50, that basically means that your rings are double the size of 100, and that means you will have to adjust a fewer amount of rings to move the same distance. So it's basically, the rings are a way of measuring. It's the only fixed visual in the game that assists you in measuring your wind adjustment. So with a 50 accuracy club, let's say your wind is 8 miles per hour, you know that it's 2 wind per ring on a 50 club, just by working from this chart. So it's really easy. 100 accuracy is 1 wind per ring, down to 0 accuracy is 3 wind per ring. Now, when that becomes difficult is if you have, say, a club that's 35 accuracy, which is 2.3, and your wind comes in at, let's say, just 11.2, then it becomes reasonably difficult to quickly calculate 11.2 divided by 2.3, because that's all that the calculation is, 11.2 divided by 2.3. So if I do that, 11.2 divided by 2.3, that gives me 4.8, 4.9 rings. So I know in that instance, I would need to adjust 4.8 or 4.9. Now, like I say, you can't be flicking between wind charts and calculators. It's the reason that people use Notebook or Caddy as a wind assist app. It's because it just quickly does it for you. So what I've always done, and I don't use Notebook much, I only use it in tournaments really, when it's really important to get sort of ultra fine adjustments. Just in general tour play, I don't use Notebook a lot. I use it on occasional shots where it might be 40% elevation and 17.9 wind or something ridiculous like that. Then I might use it, but generally I don't use it. And what I do is I look at, rather than wind per ring, I look at wind per 5 rings, because you have 5 5 rings on your target. You have the inner bullseye out to the white outer ring, and the white outer ring is 5 rings. So if you play 5, if you adjust 5 rings on a 100 accuracy club, when the wind is 5 miles per hour, that's going to be bang on. So I always think about the outside ring. So I'll just go back to the back to the game now, and I'll try and explain what I mean. So let's just take the, I don't know, the Guardian, for example. That's 66 accuracy. Now, if I relate that to the chart and the scale, I'll call it 65 accuracy because one digit doesn't really make a difference. That's 1.7 wind per ring. So 1.7 multiplied by 5 rings. I know that the outside ring is 8.5. Now, I didn't need the calculator for that. I was just showing you that. I already have that in my head. So all that I'll do is I'll go through my bag and I'll just say, right, the extra mile is 29. So I know that's 12.1 outside ring. The Guardian is 66. I know that's 8.4 outside ring. The Saturn is 51. That's 9.9 outside ring. The Thorn is 43. That's 10.7 outside ring. The Endbringer is 70. That's 7.0 outside ring. So I'll just quickly tell you that again. 43 is 10.7. And how I get that is I'll look for 43. That's 45. I know that's 2.1 wind per ring. So 2.1 multiplied by 5, it's 10.5. So like I said, 10.7 wind per ring. So that's how I do it. And then what I do is when I'm adjusting, I'll just go in and play a game actually, and I'll show you. I'll show you how I do it. I should get an opponent pretty quickly here. So I know that I'm going to tee off. I know which hole I've got because it's showing me there. I'm going to tee off with a quarterback, I think, on this one. It's a really nice hole to show you, actually. So let me just look. I'll switch my bags. So I've got the quarterback and the Guardian. Those are the two clubs I'm going to play with. Ignore the spin adjustment and everything else. Just look at the wind up in the top corner. It's 7.4. The quarterback is 100 accuracy, so I know I need to adjust 7.4. So I'm rotating the screen so that the arrow is pointing away from me at 12 o'clock. I'm setting the white ring to the top of the take shot button right there, and then I'm just going to adjust 7.4. And it doesn't matter if you hit great with an accurate club because it's an accurate club, it doesn't deviate much. But that landed pretty much exactly where I wanted it to land. The next shot will be interesting because I'll have a 66 accuracy club. So I know that the outside ring on that is around 8.4 wind. So if I get 8.4 wind, I'm going to adjust round about 5 rings. If I get 4.1, I know that's half, or 4.2, that's about half. So I'm going to adjust 2.5 rings. And what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that you land in the place that you intend to. So you set up, get your ball guide exactly where you want it going, and then imagine the wind's going to push it in the air. So you need to adjust, and the ball, if you get your accurate adjustment, the ball will always land exactly where you think it's going to land. So I'll show you this one. So this is, like I say, it's 8.4 out for the outside ring. So all I'm going to do, I know that I don't want to be adjusting here up into overpower because I've got headwind. So I'm just going to pull back a little bit. I think that's going to bounce in way too fast. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of backspin. Somewhere around about there. I want the second bounce near the fringe. And 3.1 wind, 8.4. I know that's there in the middle of the blue ring would be 4.2, but I'm 3.1, which is a bit less than that. So I'm just going to go there. I didn't work it out. I just looked visually where I think 3.1 sits, bearing in mind that 8.4 is my outside ring. So there you can see it came in nicely, near enough where I wanted it to, and that one worked out quite well. So what you need to remember is the outside ring value. If you're not going to use notebook and you're not going to use caddy or anything like that, you can remember the wind per ring, which is 1 wind per ring or 2 wind per ring or 3 wind per ring or somewhere in between. But I find it much easier to calculate an outside ring, so 5 rings. So like I say, on that Guardian shot, I knew that it was 8.6 for the outside ring, and I got 3.1 wind, so I know that that's just a bit under half. So I adjusted somewhere around about 2 rings. And that's all that I do, and I do that all the way up to Tour 12. Actually, I've won a Master tournament, a Master Gold, using that strategy. I didn't use notebook at all when I won my first Master Gold medal. That was just using those kind of calculations. But like I say, I use those successfully. I win a lot of games on all tours really, but even up to the highest tours. So just to recap, 100 accuracy is 1 wind per ring or 5 wind per 5 rings. 0 accuracy is 3 wind per ring or 15, which is 3 times for the 5 rings, 15 wind per 5 rings. So remember or write down what that figure is for each of the clubs in your bag, and then when you get into the game, I'll show you again on this shot. When you get into game, I mean, what I generally do now is I'll look at the wind that my opponent's getting, and I'm already working it out in my mind what my adjustment needs to be. Now I know this is going to be a really small adjustment because it's a really small wind. So this guy's got 1.8 wind. I've got a navigator which is going to reduce it more than his Marlin. So mine's going to be somewhere around about 1.4, 1.5 maybe. And I'm going to be playing with the Guardian, which is 8.6. So I know that 1.5 divided by 8.6, it's going to be sort of less than 1 ring adjustment. 1.5 divided, yeah, it's going to be less than 1 ring adjustment for me. So I'm going to set up where I want, and then I'm just going to apply a really small adjustment. Yeah, not a bad effort. It always comes in really short or long on this hole for some reason with the sniper, but you can see I'm going to play, I get 1.5 wind. Just trying to remember how to play this one. God, I've got no idea. I've not got much guide there, but I'll go with that play, and I'm just going to adjust. Like I say, that would be 8.6 wind. If I had 8.6, I would adjust to there. If I had 4.3, I would adjust to there. So I've got about a third of 2.5 rings. So I'm going to go about 0.8 rings. I'm just going to counter curl a very small amount, and yeah, that one turned out okay. So you can see that's how to do it. I adjusted 0.8 rings there. So so that's how to get a rough estimation. There's much more to understand than that, because when you're playing downhill, the ball's going to be in the air for a much longer time, so you've got to adjust more. There's different balls, the power of different balls adjusts this number significantly, but or whether you're at maximum extension or minimum, but the basics of it is there. You use a chart like this, so 100 down to 0 with a wind per ring of 1 down to 3, and you apply it to the accuracy of your club. So I hope that helps. Feel free to send me a message. I'm always available if you need any help. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel just to support what I'm doing, because I'm trying to put more of these videos out to help you guys. Okay, hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching.